F1 24 Driver Career Mode Season 1, Round number 12, the Italian Grand Prix. We are here in Monza. It is Monza time, and I've been somewhat excited about this one, somewhat a little bit scared about this one since the start of this season, but we'll get into that later. Putting on a aerodynamic upgrade onto the car, which won't come through until the next race in Texas, USA. That is the only thing we're going to do for this weekend though, and as we go into this race weekend, we do actually have our regulation changes that will be coming into effect for Season 2, and those are to powertrain and durability, so that's what's going to affect all teams going into Season 2. We will most likely be changing teams next season, but it is just something to take into consideration. Looking at R&D, and Ferrari have actually had a big uptick. They are now right there with McLaren and Red Bull at the top. Those guys right on top of each other. We're a little bit further back at Aston Martin, and then Mercedes a little bit further back again. So still very close, of course, in the R&D on paper, but yeah, getting a little bit further away we are, but yeah, it is all so close, so fine margins between everyone. And as we get into Q1 here, we had, thankfully this is going to be a completely dry weekend, which is good, because after Belgium last time out in the rain, which did not go very well for us at all, we really struggled in the rain. It's good to be dry here in Monza. However, one of my big issues coming into this week, or my big worries, was the whole ERS situation, because this is a track which is like 90% or more full throttle. It is a very quick track, so I thought ERS was going to be a big issue. Turned out that it actually wasn't. I don't know if it was because of the setup, a lot of pretty much 100% engine braking in the setup for this one, so maybe that helped. But even down the straights, like if you had it in medium ERS deployment mode, it wouldn't drain the ERS. Only in hot lap and overtake would it actually drain the ERS. So that was interesting, and I thought, even after seeing that, I thought, you know, the AI are probably just still going to be way better than me. Wasn't the case though. We were actually managing to keep with them, and you'll see that during the race. But so I guess a little bit of a spoiler for the race to come. But yeah, it wasn't anywhere near as difficult as I was expecting it to be, which is of course a good thing. By the way, I probably still sound a little bit sick. I'm pretty much better now, but my voice does still sound a little bit off, so apologies for that once again. But yeah, definitely not feeling anywhere near as bad as I did last time out. Q2, and Lewis Hamilton, the big shock, out in Q2. He does not make it through to Q3. Zhou Guanyu and Sauber makes it through. Don't know why all of a sudden Sauber are really quick here. You know, both of them were in Q2, and yeah, Zhou Guanyu getting into Q3 for the first time since the very start of the season, where Sauber were they were quite quick at the start of the game. It was only a week or two in that the patch came out that pegged them back quite a bit and pretty much dropped them to the back of the grid, but they are now firmly in that kind of second group of the two groups, and yeah, managed to get through to Q3, so big stuff for them there. As we are here in Q3, as you can see, purple Sector 1. Sector 1 seemed to be where I was doing the best. Now, although ERS was not as big of an issue as I expected it was going to be, in qualifying I still had to kind of figure out where I was going to, you know, deploy overtake mode, because you do drain through a whole lap here. So I think I was maybe using a little bit too much through Sector 1, and then Sector 2 was always my weakest sector. Sector 3, I was about on par with what I needed to be, but yeah, Sector 1 I was quite quick, Sector 2 a little bit down. But in the end, we ended up P6, just behind our teammate Fernando Alonso, and it is a Ferrari 1-2 here in Monza. How crazy is that for the Italian team? The upgrades that they've brought to this weekend have catapulted them to first and second, both cars on the front row for their home Grand Prix. That is big. Then it's Norris and Verstappen, then it's myself and Alonso in the two Aston Martins, Piastri and Perez, and then Russell and Zhou Guanyu at the back.
A difficult race awaits these drivers here in Monza, but glory awaits too at the Italian Grand Prix. We're 12 miles northeast of Milan for today's Grand Prix at a Monza circuit where we can expect top speeds of around 215 miles per hour. 11 corners on this 3.6 mile track, with 7 of those coming in the form of chicanes. And with a good slipstream and DRS open, there should be plenty of opportunity for some passing here today. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Charles Leclerc lines up on pole position, and a very happy Carlos Sainz will start second. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Norris, Verstappen, Fernando Alonso, Shaw, Oscar Piastri, Perez, Russell, Joe, Albon, Hamilton, Bottas, Gasly, Sargent, Hulkenberg, Ricciardo, Ocon, Tsunoda, and Kevin Magnussen fills the last spot on the grid. Now it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track.
Here we go. It is time to go in Monza for our first Italian Grand Prix. Well, technically our second, because we had Imola earlier in the season. And remember, that one did not go too well for us. Hopefully we can do better here in Monza. It's actually a pretty good start for us. We get a decent start off the line there, but everybody ahead of us also gets a good start. And we're actually being slightly hounded by Piastri into turn 1. We're going to try staying... Oh, no, sorry, it's Perez. And he actually jumps over the curb, loses a bit of his front wing end plate. That was not my fault. I was giving him plenty of room there, but he just clattered over the curb of turn 1, bounced into our car and lost his front wing end plate. So that's not great for Perez. It shouldn't affect him too much, especially at a track like this where, you know, downforce is not the biggest deal. But yeah, he just clattered into us, bouncing over the curb there. So we're going to stay ahead of Perez, thankfully, but have lost a little bit of time to this lead group. The two Ferraris already charging off up ahead. The upgrades that they've brought this weekend, they must have been really expecting these upgrades. Look how far ahead they are already from Verstappen, who's managed to get ahead of Norris at the start of this race and up into P3. Yeah, Ferrari, obviously, you know, bringing these upgrades for their home Grand Prix. Don't think they had a particularly great home Grand Prix in Imola, so, you know, they've got a second bite of the cherry here in Monza, so going to try and take this to take full effect of these upgrades as we still continue on very much in our own race now. Actually, the cars behind dropped back to almost 2 seconds. I don't know if that's because of Perez's damage or if it's just because of those guys fighting each other, but we've managed to gap the cars behind by 2 seconds and have to catch back up to that leading pack. We have a look at the two Ferraris a couple of laps later, and Sainz behind Leclerc, but these two in their own race at the moment and fighting each other. It's the two Ferraris fighting each other for the lead of the Italian Grand Prix as Sainz goes around the outside of Charles Leclerc, and he now becomes the lead Ferrari in this race. Now this could get spicy between the two Ferraris. Lewis Hamilton, like I said earlier, did not have a good qualifying. P12 for him in qualifying. He's trying to make his way through the order. He's already up to P9, is just now trying to get past Piastri for P8 in this race, but Piastri is putting up a fight. Perez just ahead of these guys, perhaps slowing them down a little bit because of that damage, but it's actually going to let Hamilton go up the inside of Perez. It's 3 wide between all these 3 drivers into turn 1, still 3 wide. Looks like there might be a little bit more damage there for someone. I'm not really sure. Piastri is the one that loses out there. He doesn't get a position, and he might be actually under threat from Russell, but Hamilton's still going to be side by side with Sergio Perez as they head round this next corner into the second chicane of this track, and Hamilton's just going to brake a little bit later, go round the outside, and with that extra bit of downforce thanks to not having a broken front wing, he is now up to 7th, so Hamilton making good progress. Logan Sargent is doing a pretty good job in P11, just outside the points at the moment, but yellow flags up ahead, and that is for Logan Sargent. He, on lap number 3 of this Italian Grand Prix, is out of the race with a mechanical failure. So unfortunate. Sargent's been doing a better job than he does in real life. Still no points on the board for him yet this season, but unfortunately his Italian Grand Prix is over with only 3 laps down. We managed to catch up to the group ahead, 3.3 seconds to the cars behind now, led by Hamilton. But we've caught up to this lead pack. The Ferrari's still a little bit further ahead here, but we've got Norris, Verstappen, Alonso, and now myself at the back of this train. A couple of laps later, though, and the Ferraris, with fighting each other, have now have now kind of fallen into the clutches of this group, and they're still fighting each other as well. Leclerc trying to go round the outside of his teammate, and he gets that move done, but now he's not going to have the DRS, so that's going to let Sainz maybe get a move done, but actually he gets boxed in, and Verstappen's now on the outside. Could Verstappen take the lead of this race? It's 3 wide into turn 1. Once again, Verstappen on the inside, clattering over the curbs. It's Verstappen versus Leclerc out of that corner. Unfortunately, Verstappen cannot get ahead of Leclerc, but so Leclerc keeps the lead. Sainz falls down to P4 as Norris manages to get ahead of him. Verstappen, though, still trying to get past Charles Leclerc here to the outside of the next chicane. Nothing doing there. But all of a sudden, it's no longer a Ferrari 1-2 as Sainz is down to P4. And somewhere between then and now, Verstappen managed to get past Leclerc. I missed it on the replay. So now Verstappen leads this race, and Leclerc is under pressure from Lando Norris in the McLaren, as Sainz also under pressure from Alonso. So all of a sudden, the Ferrari is starting to fall back a bit. Leclerc manages to just about stay ahead of Norris at that point in time, but all of a sudden, a good 1-2 for the team is looking to fall out of their clutches. As we now have some good pace behind our teammate of Alonso, we're actually going to maybe try and go for a move here. He goes defensive into turn 1. The two Ferraris side by side. Leclerc's now down to 4th. Well, that came out of nowhere. As Norris is up to 2nd, Sainz to 3rd. We try getting past Alonso. Cannot quite get the traction down. A little bit of wheel spin out of that corner, so we can't make the move, but we have a great run round the next corner. We're going to try and get him as we go into this next chicane later on the brakes than our teammate, and we are now up into P5 and past our teammate to see if we can charge our way further up the order. Verstappen is now kind of drifting off in the lead here. The Ferraris have given up a 1-2 position here, but Sainz is still going to try and get that 2nd position. He's now trying to get past his old teammate Lando Norris at McLaren as he goes for the move into turn 1 and does manage to get past Norris, and Leclerc might be following him through as he's going to try and go round the outside of this right-hander on board with Lando Norris. There's Leclerc on the left-hand side. Norris tries to brake later, but he just cannot do it, cannot turn in with Leclerc there. So now the Ferraris up into 2nd and 3rd, but they're going to have to stop fighting each other if they want to keep this position, and that just isn't happening. Leclerc now going back for the move on Sainz up the inside. Little bit of wheel-to-wheel combat contact between the two Ferraris. This is a real battle between these two at Ferrari's home Grand Prix, but they're costing themselves they could be costing themselves a good result. They've already cost themselves the win here as Verstappen is way out in front. As now, with a great run on Lando Norris, we're going to try and get a move done on him. The two Ferraris once again are side by side up ahead. We're going to try and go round the outside of Norris. Unfortunately, cannot quite make that stick at that point in time, so we're going to have to just let that continue on. And now as we head on to lap number 13, I believe, or lap number 12, we've actually pretty much run out of ERS. We used a lot of ERS that last lap, and that's going to let Alonso just go straight past us down the main straight, and we're not going to fight that because we just don't have the battery to fight him back. So we're going to try and recharge our battery back up a bit to get back past our teammate again. Our teammate potentially looking racy though, but it doesn't matter because on lap 13 we're into the pits. Ourselves, Sainz and Norris all into the pits this lap. A couple of other drivers, I think of Leclerc and... no, sorry, Leclerc's already come in. It was Piastri and Alonso and Russell, and I guess Zhou as well, staying out there. So they'll be coming in, I assume, next lap around. But onto lap 14, we're out of the pits. Good pit stop by the team. Haven't gained any positions in the pits, but haven't lost any either. Leclerc goes out a little bit ahead of his teammate, so that could help with the Ferrari battling. You know, if he can just push ahead of Sainz now, then they don't have to worry about each other. We unfortunately actually have lost a bit of pace here. We've lost out to Sainz. He's ahead of us, and Hamilton is actually now right behind us. He managed to catch up to the back of the group earlier on. We tried to get past Alonso into turn 1, but in him squeezing us out into turn 1, we actually lose the position to Hamilton as well. We have gotten past Norris though in the pit stop phase. He's now behind us, so that is a big thing for this race. But yeah, we have lost out to Hamilton, unfortunately, and Hamilton's looking pretty rapid now. After the poor qualifying result, he looks very quick in this race. He gets past Alonso and he's trying to get a move done on Sainz as well, as Leclerc is kind of moving away a little bit in second place. So hopefully Ferrari don't have to worry about that issue of their teammates fighting anymore. But Hamilton or one of us may be here to take away the double podium from Ferrari, as Sainz is well here in this battle, as he now tries to get past Alonso, currently sitting in that P3 position. We are still just sat here behind, waiting to see what we can do, try and get a good run off this next corner. Maybe Sainz and Hamilton still battling it out just ahead. We are still stuck here behind our teammate, but we're going to get a great run once again round this left-hander. We just use a bit more ERS than our teammate does, as he seems to be charging up, and we get back past Alonso once again up into P5. Now we've got to try and make a charge here, and that's exactly what we're going to do. Lap number 20 behind Hamilton. Hamilton going for a move on Sainz. It's going to go 3 wide down the front straight. We're on the outside, Sainz in the middle, Hamilton on the inside. We go very, very deep, clamber over the curb a little bit, but just about keep it on track. A little bit of contact with Sainz. I think his front wing end plate was already broken though, so no extra damage done there. But once again, we're really quick around that right-hander. Can't quite make a move on Hamilton there, but we're going to try and outbrake him into this chicane. Go on the outside. He bangs wheels with us. We give him the room, but just a little bit of wheel banging between myself and Hamilton. But we get past him up into P4, and this move should be an easier one because Sainz does not have DRS, so this should be an easy move down the inside of Carlos Sainz as we head into turn 1. We are now up into the podium places, into P3 on lap 21 of this Italian Grand Prix. We could be going for a podium here, and we actually managed to pull away from Sainz. I'm not sure it's because of his damage or what, but we start to pull away from him, and Hamilton is now trying to get up to 4th place to also chase us down for this final podium position. Can't quite get past Sainz into that chicane, but as they head down the next mini little straight here, Norris actually goes to the inside of Hamilton, but then Hamilton is going to go to the outside of Sainz. He's going to try going around the outside of the final corner, and he does it beautifully. Great pace from Lewis Hamilton. It is going to mean he's susceptible down the main straight though without DRS, and that's exactly what's going to happen, as before they even get to the DRS point, Sainz is already alongside and will power on through, and Norris gonna get through as well on Hamilton. So not having DRS has affected Hamilton here, as he now drops down from P4 to P6, with Alonso now hot on his heels as well. But this battle here very much not over yet. Piastri's also in this battle here too, as Alonso now going to try and get past Piastri down the inside as they head into turn 1. It's 3 wide again, this time with Sainz, Alonso and Piastri. It is just battle after battle going on in this race. Norris now the car in P4. Head on to lap 26 of 27. Hamilton's all the way down in P8 now as well. Russell's also in this. Oh no, sorry, Russell's not in this battle. He's quite a bit further back. But Russell's now down in P8. Alonso is sitting in that P4 position and trying to keep it. But as we head onto the last lap here, final lap of the race, Max Verstappen crosses the line to win. We actually managed to catch right up to the back of Leclerc after some pushing in the final couple of laps. And as we head around the final corner, I could have boosted my ERS here and got past Leclerc, but once again, we've seen it with a lot with this game. The AI used all their ERS earlier on. I thought it would be unfair to overtake him right on the line there. It didn't feel fair, so I stuck behind him. It is still a podium here for us. P3, our first podium in quite a long time. Finally, we get another one. Podium here in Monza.
And in the end, there was no Verstappen. Max Verstappen, he takes victory.
Well, another race victory today. You could clearly see they're driving out there with very little pressure. You know, they know they have the performance. They know they've got the car under them as well. And this has done no harm, of course, for their championship chances.
Red Bull put up an outstanding fight for the front position today, and it's great to see it paid off for them. They do so much for the sport that you can't help but be delighted by today's race win.
So it's Max Verstappen who wins another race here, and it's in Italy this time around. He wins the Italian Grand Prix. He's going to extend his Drivers' Championship lead even further. He is looking a sure winner for this championship. although it's not massively dominant. Just like in real life, he is making the most of all his races, and yeah, quite the squabble in real life, just like real life, for like second place, means that Verstappen is still extending that lead that is quite a reasonable lead. Leclerc finally gets on the podium again. It's been a bit of an up and down season for Ferrari, but finally Leclerc gets, I think, a second podium of the season, and we finally get our next podium. We haven't had one since, I can't even remember what race it was, but it's been quite a while since our last podium. We had a great start to the season, but fallen off a little bit in this kind of second phase, I guess you could say, this second third of the season. That is actually going to jump us back up to second in the Drivers' Championship, just ahead of Lewis Hamilton. Norris, not as good of a result for him, drops him, drops him to fourth because he was in third. So we jump up 2 positions. Alonso's still there in fifth, only 2 points behind Norris now, though. It is a very close battle between second and fifth, and Aston Martin back up there in second in the constructors as well, still 51 points back from Red Bull. Great points all around there, and yeah, everything's looking pretty close as we have 4 more races to go in this season. But anyway, that's going to be it for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed, please go ahead, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.